Obviously weed is going to take care of anxiety. I mean, that's part of its potential that people use it for. A lot of people with addictions have severe social anxiety and they self-medicate with weed or with opiates or things like that. So, I can't say that it didn't calm them down, because I'm sure it's calmed everyone here in the room down once or twice. But, I think as a long-term solution, and, maybe he was extremely bright and he did fine by losing 8 points of IQ, so I think, and I obviously can't speak to the penal system. I think the penal system is screwed up, so,
Another question, Joe? Try and get to as many of you as we can.
Say your name.
Go ahead.
Oh, I would like to speak to those two people right there specifically.
These are the folks that are in support of the bill?
Come again?
These are the folks that are in support of the bill?
I'm in support of it, yes.
Are you in support of it, sir? Would you like to speak with the folks on the right who are in support of the amendment?
These two on the left.
Or those in opposition? All right, thank you. For the benefit of our radio listeners.
Now, I don't know how many people in here are 80 and above, but I'm going to be 82. But I think you better start listening to us elders. What I want to say to you is, I believe you don't know what I know. I'm going to tell you what you don't know that I know. There's actually medicines that have been approved by the FDA that will kill you. And I can tell you what they are. And I can tell you something that you don't know right now that hasn't been in the news enough. But there was a trial, a worldwide trial of CLL, in which they used Revlimid and chlorambucil. And 30-some people, 37, who were my age and older, died from that trial, and 18 people died from the chlorambucil. They are known to kill you, but the doctor won't tell you why. What happens is they reduce your immunity to an extent that you can't survive pneumonia. But anyway, can you tell me, do you know there are these medicines that will kill you? And why are you picking on marijuana? It's just a plant. It's a plant.
I'm actually not picking on marijuana. You guys are the ones that brought it up. So I liked it just the way it was. But I mean, obviously there's medications that can harm people, and those are well delineated by the FDA when they're brought out. People have allergic, terrible reactions to medications. We obviously learn in medicine. We used to irradiate people's heads when they had ringworm, in the old days, but people get smarter and they use new information and they make better and safer drugs. So,
Stephen Marcy, why hasn't the FDA done more studying on this? Why has there been 40 years of virtually no activity and a flurry of it now?
Well, I asked that question once of a national individual who worked for the government, who worked at the I'm not sure, I think it was at the Office of the National Drug Control Policy, about that. And she says, to be quite frank about it, there's a lot better drugs out there. And we could spend our time and our energies doing proper drugs that do better than marijuana. But they are doing it now. As I started in the beginning, I said we have Marinol already, which is a pill form of THC, which is legal in all 50 states if people want to take that. We have Sativex, which is about to come on the market, which will be sprayed into your throat to get a faster relief, if that's what your problem is with the pill, although there's research that shows that the pill is more effective than smoking marijuana. And so we have those things out there now, and I think the government's really ready to look at it. And when you say why, I respectfully defer to the gentleman who came up to the microphone. Why do I care? Why do I care? Because I have grandchildren. They're the most precious thing in the world to me. And we see out in Colorado right now that kids are being diverted. Their medical marijuana is being diverted to those kids. We've heard those kids in surveys say that if marijuana is legalized in any form, 2/3 of them said that they will probably use more of it. And so if a young person starts using it, we've got a lot of problems with that young child. And I want my grandchildren to grow up knowing the true value of a life, not through a purple haze, but through what their talents and their goals and what they can achieve, and not because they're high on something.
All right, folks, maybe we could just make sure we ask questions. We appreciate your stories, but we'd like to ask questions on another one. Yolanda, please.
Yes,
I'd like to say something about that first.
I'll let Mike respond.
We'd like to see that too, but when you're talking about kids with Dravet's, they're not going to make it on the medication that you're talking about. You're talking about kids that are 3, 4, 5 years old. These kids are not going to make it on opiates. These kids are not going, these 18, 19, 20-year-old young men and women who are coming home from war are not going to make it to 80 years old. If they have to spend their life on opiate medications 10 years down the road when they're 30 to 35 years old, they will be a waste because their insides will be destroyed. I want to see the reason. That's why people support cannabis.
Quickly, Marcy, quickly.
Because people need medication long term, and they cannot take synthetic medications long term. If somebody takes synthetic medication for 35 to 40 years, they will be dead. That's what will happen to them, and they will never see their full potential because they'll never make it to the end of their full potential.
All right,
I
Mike,
just say in defense of medicine, you know, I mean, if you think doctors don't want to help people, then you're crazy, because all of us go into this because you want to make people better. And if there was a drug that worked, we would be using it. And there's incredibly smart people
But not
trying to treat this disease.
Because it works
trying
well.
to treat this
That's
disease
not why
as
everything
best
gets
they
approved.
can. And they're trying to do the best they can for every patient. And, you know, if they thought that would work, if the experts, the Neurologic Society just came out and said they're against medical marijuana, even though they're studying the effects. So,
Marcy, quickly.
There's right now, no one's going to put those children, and I understand that really how devastating that is for parents for that particular substance. And we know that the DBDs, which in marijuana does show promise. We know that, we see that. And in fact, there's a pharmaceutical company in Britain right now that is putting together a drug called Epidolax, which is treating that, and it's in clinical trials under the Orphan Drug Act. In the United States, they've sped up the clinical trials, and it's right now being tested in the United States. So 125 children are getting that right now. But we want to make sure that we do it properly, because in 10 years from now, I don't want to see those children with something. Does the word thalidomide mean anything? I mean, we rushed to judgment on that one, and that one went on for generations. So we want to make sure that it's right and it's safe for the children, but they have sped ahead to do it. And you're right, there is some promise, and I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get it done for these kids.
All right,
the idea that
hang on, Mike. We're going to get a question in here.
FDA
We got to get some folks talking here.
Denver. There's been a war on the people from this corrupt government for the last 60 years, so you have to pardon our passion. You know, starting with Jay Enslinger, you know, and his racist comments about marijuana, and then they started to eradicate cannabis or hemp as well.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. I was just getting to it. It's on the spot, man.
All right, I know. We got to move on.
With Pavlov's dog theory, you know, the ringing of the bells and the saliva and all that, what's the difference? There's a lot of controversy as far as marijuana, as far as addictive versus habit forming. What's the difference, or what are you seeing in your trials about the addictions for marijuana?
well, I mean, it definitely happens. I mean, is there, you know, we generally make a definition when somebody has an abuse problem, which means the problem isn't as serious. They're probably using it more than they should be, but their life is going fairly well, still moving on to true full-blown addiction dependence, which is usually marked by difficulties in family, school, things like that. So do we see it? I mean, we see marijuana addiction. I mean, we definitely see it in adolescence. And
you said how much use they have. If it's never been studied, then how, and determine a safe level or normal dose, then how can there be a bar to judge by?
well, I'd ask you the same question, because you don't know what dose you're getting either.
Yeah,
But
I take 2 hits and I'm good.
yeah. I'd like to do a test
Van
and give him
Oker.
nothing and see
Chris
if he
Van
gets
Oker,
better
let's have
too.
another instant poll question
Yeah.
here before our next question from the audience.
I have to follow that. Our next question is, how serious a problem is the use of marijuana in this country? 1, very serious. 2, moderately serious. 3, not too serious. 4, not a problem at all. Please vote on your clickers. And let's go ahead and close the polling. And the results are 49% say not a problem at all. 19 say not too serious. I skipped 1. 20 said very serious. 12 moderately serious. So we've got a bit of a division there.
Yeah, it seems. Yolanda, another question?
Sure. Please step on up. Tell us your name and your question.
I'm Christine Miller. I am a proud mother of a mentally ill daughter that has been given more medication from OSU that she's gone into withdrawals of, and now she's back on cannabis, and her anxiety and her PTSD and her borderline and stuff is now where she can actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody instead of the medication, the synthetic medications taking her out. I want to know how you can tell us that when I get a whole list of warnings on it, it could cause this, and this, that I've had around in my life for almost 60 years, I've never seen anybody addicted to it, because my daughter's a recovered heroin addict, but she never went back to any drugs just by being on medical marijuana that helps her out.
If I could speak to that, I'm down here in the end.